It doesn't matter how many degrees. You could have 1,000 different degrees in languages, including Greek. If you translate John 8:58 as before Abraham came to be, I am, you don't know Greek. Or you're so biased and beholden to post-biblical doctrines, you can't bring yourself to translate Greek, right? If you have so much knowledge, Trinitarian scholars, what's the problem with your learning? Why can't you apply it right? Let's take a look. In John 8:58, ego eimi, unlike in John 9:9 or John 8:24 or in John 4 or in John 6 or in John 18, where Jesus is using ego eimi like the blind man in John 9:9 to introduce himself as the Christ, whereas the blind man is introducing himself as the blind man they're seeking, it's connected with an expression of past time. And that changes things. That is now making ego eimi a present verb, eimi, a part of a well-known Greek idiom that the Trinitarian scholars, with all their learning, all their Greek education, all their degrees, fail consistently to understand. That is an embarrassment. That's a humiliation. And they're going to wear that all the way to the end. Their horrific translation of John 8:58 will stand as a monument to how bankrupt their translations are when it comes to Christologically significant text. They absolutely mistranslate John 8:58. They fail to recognize a well-established idiom that in this article right here, I show several translations that get it right and grammars that support getting it right. I list here 8 grammarians, 8 Greek grammarians that Trinitarians almost never discuss or present as supporting this idiom being what I said, a Greek present with an expression of past time which gathers up the past to the present, which is appropriately represented by before Abraham came into existence, I have been. The only way I am would be correct is if you mean by that the same thing, that his existence extends from the past to the present. But it's not proper English. We don't talk that way. We use a perfect instead of a present to represent that type of expression. Trinitarians, have your scholars and your apologists told you about this? No, they haven't, have they? Robert M. Bowman tried to talk about some of these citations and explain why he thought they were incorrect. He did the best job, at least, of representing the Trinitarian position, but he failed completely to justify the Trinitarian position and to show that John 8:58 is not an example of this idiom. It is. And in my writings, I showed that it is. I dealt with every single issue raised and argument presented by Bowman on this issue. And no one has responded to me on these issues. Yet you Trinitarian apologists and scholars keep running around on this issue and lying. They think that ego eimi and John 8:58, and Bowman believes this as well, that it's just absolute. Meaning by that, it's a self-contained expression. Before Abraham was or came into existence, I am. Meaning either that he's claiming to be the great I am, which is a joke, right? Because there one is no great I am. That's based on another mistranslation from Exodus 3:14, Echye Asher Echye, which doesn't say he's the I am. At best, even if we give you I am, it's I am who I am, which is a statement about his character and what he will be as the sign. I talked about it in my text reading on Exodus 3:14. So you'd have to be blind to continue to use Exodus 3:14, which is mistranslated just like John 8:58, to help maintain this false connection between an I am that does not exist. It's talking about his character and what he will be as the sign going forward with Moses to free the Israelites. That's why the Septuagint translates it ego eimi haon, not ego eimi, I am. You Trinitarians have failed in some of the most basic Hebrew and Greek grammatical ways. Again, it's embarrassing. At this point, it's an embarrassment. And you should be embarrassed. You should apologize. Ego eimi is not absolute in John 8:58. It's a part of the idiom that those 8 grammarians I just referenced identify it as a present of past action still in progress. Some call it different things, a durative present, or other terms that essentially denote the same thing, which means it's an extension from past, like McKay defines it. An extension from the past time in which he existed to observe Abraham, rejoicing at his day, all the way to his moment of talking with the Jews. That's why ain, won't work there. Because it's not just talking about him in the past. It's talking about him in the past and how in the past he saw what Abraham did so that in the present he could tell him about it. And so you Trinitarians go from one bankrupt argument to another, all to try to sustain a connection that does not exist. There is no I am. There's no I am in Exodus or in John. I am either introduces an understood predicate, being the equivalent of an he, who, right? Who, he, who's he? You get it from the context. The Christ, Son of Man, one born blind, or the one who existed before Abraham, the one whom Abraham looked forward to seeing, the Christ, the Messiah. That's the day that Jesus is talking about, the day of his coming. Abraham looked forward to that day. He saw that day and rejoiced. How do I know? I was there before he was even born. And I'm talking to you right now to tell you what I saw. You Trinitarians fail in so many ways because of your later doctrine and your loyalty to things that are not in the Bible. And at this point, right, it would require humility on your part, something in the Bible, to accept what you have done and what you haven't done and apologize to everyone.